streets, I'm kicking it with people and I see dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels, because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What's going on, friends and family? I appreciate y'all for continuing to hold me down. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. If this is more than one time you've been here, minimally, make sure that you hit a like for the algorithm if this is your first time here or if this is your first time restreaming. What up, y'all? It's Thursday, March 13th, 2025, year of our Lord. Here in Detroit, we call this 313 Day. 313 Day, all right? March 13th, I don't really know what's going on. My homegirl was telling me there's a bunch of stuff happening in the city. I don't know if I want to be a part of that, to be honest with you, because it'd be a lot. You know what I'm saying? The weather is good. When the weather changes in the Midwest, a lot of times the bodies start piling up. I don't anticipate that happening here because we've had a really, really peaceful city, especially here in downtown Detroit where I stay and where I do my work. But it is 313 Day. So shout out to everybody in the city. I see DJ Ace Productions saying it. Michelle Obama podcast comments is brutal. People got mad at me for talking. Oh, we going to bring that back up tonight on After Hours. If y'all not a part of After Hours, y'all need to tune in to After Hours. Let me say this before we get started with the show. Never fuck up. I'm sorry. I caught myself. I'm sorry to everybody that's in the daycare, people that got me on the TV at work in the lunchroom and stuff. Let me apologize. Tariff on myself, all right? Never mess up the money. I thought I was on After Hours for a second. Forgive me. Give me grace. I'm working on it. God ain't done with me yet. Let me go ahead and leave with prayer. Lord, help me. Bless me to be on top of things. Oh, Lord, bless me to be on top of things. Don't let me be, help me to remember what platform that I'm on, and also give me a better vocabulary so I don't say the things that I should not be saying when I'm not supposed to say it. Bless me to be the same across all platforms. Help me, God. Censor me correctly and give me the words to say so that I don't say things that I'm not supposed to say, in Jesus' name. Amen. Never mess up the money under no circumstances. Now, I'm not saying this in general. I'm saying this to the ladies. Ladies, hear me and hear me clearly. I don't care what happens. I see too much of this happening. Y'all got to stop calling me with this dumb stuff. These guys are communicating to me because they can't communicate to you. And they saying, Anton, can you make this announcement? Because maybe they'll hear you since they don't want to hear us because they too close to us. I want to emphasize this and I want to be very clear about this. Under no circumstances do you mess up the money. Y'all doing it too often. You crashing out and you're going to regret it. And then you're going to go back to the guy that you crashed out on And what that's going to translate into is then he's going to still have to pay for the mistakes that you did publicly when it should have been private. It's too many people, even behind the scenes, women calling guys too much when they supposed to be on the job. Let that man do his job. You out here wanting to tear up stuff and all of that stuff. Stop busting out windows. You keep calling around. You keep picking up your phone, going live, talking about what's going on. Shut up. Shut up. Shut your funky mouth. Stop messing up the money. Stop messing up people's reputations. The situation is going to be cool because you know what you're going to do? You're going to mess up the money and then y'all going to get back cool. And what you should have had and what y'all should have been dealing with is not going to be a resource that you have. You messing up this man's job. You messing up his money. You getting him arrested. All of this stuff. Y'all, wow. Shut up. Sit down for 5 seconds. If you calm yourself and get yourself together, I don't care what the situation is. I don't care who right. I don't care who wrong. Under no circumstance, even if y'all break up, even if you break up, do not mess up the money because you are messing up what you can get contributed into, or maybe your whatever the situation is. Stop messing up the money. I'm not talking about anybody in particular, Tracy. This is stuff that I see happening in real life. People be calling me. Guys be hitting me up with, I be seeing people in my own family and stuff like that that's going through it and all of that. Stop messing up the money. Stop. Under no circumstance do you mess up the money. None. Zero. Play your role. Play your position. I want to ruin his reputation. I want to get mad, or I'm going to send him to jail and all of that. That's your child's father. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What's wrong with y'all? He up here trying to take care of his job. He trying to get to work, and you keep calling him every day, all day on the hour because you mad, or you want to feel better, or you want to make yourself, you want to exalt yourself and all of that. It ain't about you right now, baby girl. Shut up. Shut your funky mouth. Shut it up for 1 minute and let this man do his job. You know why a lot of these guys be crashing out? Because they be having high blood pressure. Honestly, they be having high blood pressure because you be stressing them out. Stressing them out. You know what these guys need to start doing? And we gonna get into the show. You know what I'm gonna start advising these guys to do? Keep you on a shoestring budget. Anton, what does that mean to keep them on a shoestring budget? Don't give them too much. Don't give them too much. For all of the guys that's running it up, taking care of business, the Henrys, the high earners but not rich yet, all of the guys, and then you say you want a stay-at-home wife, don't let her stay at home. Don't let her, unless she got kids, unless she have children, and those children are not of age to be able to go to school full time. Don't let her quit her job. Don't let her get with you and quit her job. Nope. Because then she ain't gonna have nothing to do. See, if you don't give a woman some purpose, because it's not just about being a stay-at-home mother, it's about being purposeful. If you don't give her a purpose, if she don't have nothing to do on a regular basis, if she got too much time on her hands to bother you, it's gonna mess up the money. Keep them on a shoestring budget and let them graduate. That's the part of the conversation that we're not talking about. Let them graduate. Let them work, be faithful and little, and then make her ruler over much. Don't give her too much too fast because she's not going to appreciate it. She going to come to feel like that's the expectation. But if you grow her into it, don't get her the biggest ring that you can find for her the first time you get married and all of this stuff. Don't do it. Don't do it. Get her something small and let her work her way through it. As she continue to shoot in the gym with you, then you continue to let her graduate. But giving these women now, I'm realizing that giving them too much, not for all women, this is not applicable for all women, but giving them too much too early, you spoiling them rotten, and they're going to become rotten. Rotten. Nothing wrong with spoiling them, but when they become rotten, you're going to ruin them. You're going to ruin them. And then you know what they're going to say? Well, you made me this way. You made me this way. You get that chick that just want a pair of Jordans. She want them little Jordans. She thinks she doing something because you gave her a little $200 pair of Jordans. She gonna praise you. She gonna love you. She gonna do all of the things that you thought that she wouldn't do. But then you gonna get this one that's spoiled, that's entitled, and she gonna think that she need a trip to Europe in order to bust it down for a real one. Nope. That's how y'all be getting traded in. That's how a 50 get traded in for 225s. That is how a 50, a woman that's been there, she 50, you know what I'm saying? She think that you 50 and so you can't go. Nah, you can get traded in for 225s if you're not careful. If you're not careful, a 50 can turn into 225s. And all they want is some Reeboks. All they want is to go to Roof Chris and be able to put it on the ground. You better shut your mouth and let that man get to his money. Anyways, make sure you hit a like for that. Stop calling me. I'm telling you, your women now, shut up and let them get to the money. Stop giving them high blood pressure. Stop stressing them out, right? And let him do what he need to do. He'll come back to you. He ain't got nowhere else to go. He only live in one place. He coming home. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. You better appreciate what you got before you get traded in. No, they always making a new model. Always making a new model. New, upgraded, all of that. Crazy out in these streets. After hours gonna be lit tonight. We got a lot to talk about. Anyways, let me read some of these cash apps and super chats, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with the show. We got a lot to cover. Let's see what's happening out here. Y'all be calling me early in the morning with y'all. Oh man, look at this. Brandon Diamond Select in the building. For the Submariner is a great introduction to Rolex. That's a fact. Shout out to Brandon Diamond Select. Mike that dude in the building. I appreciate you, Mike that dude. Trini Life in the building says, bless you, your fam, and your endeavors. Thank you, Trini Life. And I want to give a special round of applause for Chris James. Chris James, you can't be doing this, big dog. You can't be doing this. You can't be sending this bag because the bag chasers is bag chasing. Chris James over here throwing crazy bags on Cash App. I appreciate you, Chris James. Thank you, my friend, for holding me down and contributing into the platform. Sharon says, AD, first, how are you? I'm doing really well. Second, as for the hateful comments yesterday referring to my money. Hateful comments referring to my money. If folks read the word, there will be no energy for the hate. The word says profit off the earth is for all. Ecclesiastics 5 and 9. They mad at your obedience. Who was mad at my money? It was some comments that was mad at the money or something like that. I might have just been going off on the chat or something. I don't even remember. I go off on the chat so much. I go off on the chat so much I don't even remember. Listen, you got to understand. My memory is so short. The minute that I cut off a live stream, I'm already on to the next thing. I don't even be knowing what people be talking about. I'll be in the moment. Honestly, I'll be in the moment. I get to it. I have a good time. I interact with people. I'm passionate about the things that I say, but honestly, I don't be knowing what the heck is going on. When videos drop, I don't go back and read the comments. The only thing that I tell my people to do, I don't tell my people to get rid of no comments. For people to be like, Anton, delete. No, you just posted something that YouTube didn't like, and so YouTube flagged it. I'm not about to go through. I ain't going through. I don't be knowing what's going on. The only thing that we focus on in the comments is making sure that there ain't no spam. You know, them duplicate accounts to be like, hey, come and get with me on WhatsApp. No, we try to flag all of those. But honestly, I don't even be knowing what's going on, to be honest with you. But thank you. I appreciate you for contributing into the platform. Shout out to my girl, Molly. Molly says the blog was so dope. Thank you. Such a great edit. Thank you, Molly. Shh. That's my hidden thing. That's my hidden thing. That's my new thing. 392Q says 314 day tomorrow's STL. We lit. Happy 313 day to you, though. Getting me some Chinese food, barbecue, Emo's pizza, and a vest. Shout out to 390Q. I appreciate you. Uncut Underground is in the building. Says Putin is not going to accept is Trump's ceasefire deal. Trump is supplying aid and intel to Ukraine again. like that stupid President Biden. Interesting. Interesting. Well, we're going to go over it. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Shout out to Uncut Underground. Purpose is everything. Good morning, Anton. Please look into the interview Sheldon Daniels. He is a Republican from Texas, 30, trying to get Jasmine Crockett out. You got to hear him speak. Tell him to email me. Tell him to email me. Chasers, check on Chasers. Where is Fi Brown? Where is Fi Brown? What's going on with Fi Brown? Give me a second. That's a good idea. I'm glad you brought that up. Give me 1 second. Let me see something. I hate autocorrect.
Please leave your message for. Please leave your message for.
We're texting. If anybody heard from Fi Brown, let me know. I just texted him and told him to hit me back. So, yeah, Fi Brown. See, y'all didn't know that I had my Chasers phone numbers, did y'all? Oh, y'all thought that we just be playing, that we just be messing around. No, I got my people phone number. I call them in real life. You thought that just because they in the chat that we don't actually interact in real life? If you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, a real group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Join the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos. Yes, we do have each other's phone number. We really do check on each other. And sometimes it slipped my mind because I'll be having a lot going on. But your Chasers, your people, your family really do be caring for you. Somebody check on Fi Brown and see what's going on, all right? Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Let me read one more super chat and then we'll get it popping. Brandon Burke says, thanks, AD, for the 1v1. What? Thanks, AD, for the 1v1 call yesterday. You sure that wasn't me? Somebody did a coaching call with you yesterday? It wasn't me. I don't know what a 1v1 call yesterday is, Brandon Burke, but you might want to check that and flag that because that certainly was not me. Let me just, before we get into the show, let me say this. I do not reach out to people on WhatsApp. I don't reach out to people on Instagram. I don't reach out to people on TikTok. I don't reach out to people in the comments. All right? I don't do any of that. If any of you guys see somebody that say this is an alternative account or something like that, it's not me. I do not reach out to anybody on any platform. I only do business through my email, Anton Daniels 413 at gmail.com. All right? Be very, 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 very careful. No, I do not have a code. I don't like none of that. All right. So be very careful. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. I do not reach out to people. That was ain't on. Do not send y'all money to anybody. All right. Fi Brown, man, why you ain't answering your phone? I was checking on you today, man. They said check on Fi Brown. We ain't seen him in a while. What up, big dog? We love you, bro. What is a 1v1 call? Be careful, y'all. Be careful. Anton Daniels 413 at gmail.com. If you don't get an email from that, then it ain't me. Just Incredible says, hey, AD, what's your opinion on Anthony Mackie saying success is given, not earned. I actually plan on talking about that on After Hours. So make sure y'all, I got a lot of things that I'm talking about on After Hours tonight. So let me give y'all a lineup of what we're going to talk about on After Hours. We're going to revisit Michelle Obama's podcast, and she dropped 2 episodes yesterday. Tiana Taylor's divorce. Le'Veon Bell being sued for 25. Let me get Five Brown on. Well, I can't talk about it right now, Five Brown. I see you calling back. Le'Veon Bell, $25 million judgment. In Vogue, woman is homeless. And then we also have the Anthony Mackie thing. All right. So I did see that he was on the Pivot podcast, right? So we got all of that. Those 5 subjects is things that we're going to be tackling on After Hours. Make sure y'all tap into After Hours tonight. The best late night platform on the face of the planet. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into the show. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock. First things first, Quick Hits. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't think that we need to tackle on an individual basis, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop on what's going on out in these streets. The woman. So this is a woman. This is a story that's been going viral. There was a Portsmouth athlete that was charged after hitting a girl on the track with the baton. She's now being charged, and her father and her family is speaking out. She recently came out and she did a little bit of a mini interview about what was going on. Check it out.
We begin at 6 with brand new developments on a track meet incident gone viral.
A local NAACP chapter is also weighing in on what happened to a student athlete getting hit by a baton. There's a good chance you've seen this video of a track meet in Lynchburg between a student from the area and an IC Norcom high school athlete. Now, charges of assault and battery have been filed. A lot to cover in this tonight. 10 on your sides. Markeisha Jackson was first to report this locally. She is live at IC Norcom with today's developments. Markeisha?
Shout out to Markeisha.
Aisha and Tom, we got that charge of assault and battery confirmed by the Lynchburg Commonwealth's attorney, and Portsmouth NAACP says it's concerning, saying that the viral video that many have seen does not warrant this kind of response.
We have to take care of our children more as a people. We should not have adults attacking young children on either side.
That's what Genoa Everett had to say about the extensive backlash his daughter Alayla has faced after a viral incident brought nationwide attention to the family. In the video, Alayla is seen striking an opponent, Kaylin Tucker, with the baton from behind. Alayla says her opponent was running very close to her. The closeness caused Alayla to lose her balance. In an attempt to regain it, she pumped her arm forward to regain her stride, and that's when Tucker got hit. But for many watching the viral video that shows the incident from the front, they think it was intentional.
We're just seeing one video and it looks bad from that angle.
A certified USA track and field official even slowed down the video to show just how close the 2 athletes were competing. And for anyone watching it with just the naked eye, it's just too close for anyone outside of these 2 athletes to call.
Leaving certain things out did so much damage to our family.
Fam. Believe it or not, Time Dog, when you're on a basketball team, all right, when you're on a basketball team or you're on a football team, for most high schools and middle schools, they encourage you or sometimes even require you to run track depending on which sport that you play and how it overlaps with whatever sport that you play in, your primary sport. So most athletes, right, most people that play basketball, most people that play football, if you've ever played in middle school or high school on a team in organized sports, you know that they also encourage you to also be on the track team. One of the things that I've realized, and even in watching this video, the first thing that I said is, why does she have her hands like this if she's running and she's already gotten the baton and the baton ain't even passed to her? If you getting the baton from the back and then you going like this, why are your hands like this and going like this at the girl that's next to you? Now, they're mad because we live in a society where we now hold people accountable. We now hold people accountable for the things that they doing because we have cameras and social media. And so now the NAACP, just like the union at the plant, they always defending the people that do wrong instead of holding her accountable. She goes online. She does an interview, right? She then says that, oh my God, it wasn't what it was supposed to be and all of this stuff. And so now they're trying to do a cleanup, and that's not how it works. You have to take accountability and responsibility. Once you do that, people then they forget about it. They let it go. They say, you know what? You did wrong, but we okay with it. It's going to be some haters here and there. But the fact of the matter is, most of the people leave it alone. There's no reason for her. The first time that I seen that video, I was like, yep. She hit that girl in the head. I don't know if they had beef. I don't know who's sleeping with who boyfriend. I don't know if she just mad because she getting smoked on the track or what. But she hit that girl in the head. You can't tell me different. And now they trying to clean it up and act like she shouldn't be charged. She absolutely need to be charged. And if you don't deal with it now, if she didn't have a strong father, and I'm guessing that he may not be as strong as I anticipate him being because he over here making excuses. But if he can't take accountability or force her to take accountability, this is the thing that she'll be justifying doing, and it'll get exponentially worse as she gets older.
The Portsmouth NAACP released this statement in support of both families and called out the racial slurs and death threats that Alayla and her family have received. Lynchburg Commonwealth's attorney Bethany Harrison says a petition for 1 count of assault and battery has been issued. In response to that, Portsmouth NAACP saying, quote, "We are committed collectively to ensuring that the criminal justice system, which we feel is not warranted in this situation, is executed fairly and based on due process."
The criminal justice system never works for black people. Even if you are the person that is assaulting, killing, hitting, tripping, the criminal justice system is never just enough for black people. We got you on camera hitting this girl in the head, and you're saying that you're the victim. We the only people in the world that could become the victim from being the person that actually is an assaulter. You could hit somebody in the head and then you'll blame it on the we'll blame it on the system for putting us in a position to hit somebody in the head. And you know what? I had to rob that store because I didn't know nothing else. It wasn't nothing but drug dealers around me. It's my environment's fault. It's not my choice that I went over there and sold drugs to my community and killed people in order to maintain my social structure within the hood. That ain't my fault. It's not my fault. It's the fact that I'm black and y'all coming after me. It's not my fault. It ain't my fault. It ain't my fault. Also, remember when we were having this conversation about the mother in Detroit who said that her kids froze to death? Well, we've been having this conversation and I thought that it was over, but now prosecutor Kim Worthy, who I was supposed to do an interview with here, but whatever, our schedules got crossed. Maybe we'll revisit it because I have some new questions that I want to ask her. I think really I didn't want to do the interview at that time because it was nothing for me to actually ask her about. But I want to call her. But Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy, who Detroit is in Wayne County, is anticipating possibly filing charges against the mother who recently got a new home once they discovered that the children actually died from carbon monoxide poisoning. This is the latest on it. This story won't go away. Check it out.
Tonight, an update on the heartbreaking story of 2 young siblings found dead in a minivan in a Greektown parking structure.
Well, the circumstances are tragic. The Wayne County prosecutor will determine if their mother or anyone else contributed to their deaths. Fox News' Jessica Dupnack joins us live with more on today's developments. It's been a very busy day in this case, Jessica.
Yeah, this is really the next step in this investigation since the beginning. Detroit police have been looking into this case not only to figure out what led to the children's death, but also to see if there was a criminal component to it all. Now, since that time in February, there's been multiple people brought in for questioning, including the children's mother and grandma, but no arrests have been made. Now it will be up to Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy to decide if anybody is criminally culpable. Since February, Detroit police have been investigating to figure out what led to the death of 2-year-old Amila Curry and her brother, 9-year-old Darnell Curry. And now their findings are with the Wayne County prosecutor's office. Until last week, the theory was the 2 kids froze to death, but an autopsy revealed the cause of death is carbon monoxide poisoning. At the time of their death, they were in the care of their mother, 29-year-old Tatiana Williams. The family, homeless, living out of a van, parked at the Greektown Casino parking structure in February when they died. died.
Everybody who know me know I worship the ground them kids walked on.
The sequence of events that led to the children's death have not been revealed, or where the children were exposed to carbon monoxide. Both children wearing T-shirts and the toddler in a diaper. The older boy was covered in lice and the 2-year-old with rotted teeth.
Jesus Christ. Jesus. The more I didn't know that detail. I didn't know that one of the kids was covered in lice and the other one had rotted teeth. Oh. These stories get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Why do kids always got to be the one that suffer? Why do kids always got to be the one that suffer? Now, and then again, I'm not going to absolve my guys. I know y'all want me to. I know y'all only want me to pin it on the mother. The father of the kids was over there with a wildebeest partying while his children, he living in Novi, Michigan, which is a wealthy suburb. I don't know if he getting put up or what, who he living with. The father over there partying with a wildebeest and kissing her. He got a Nike tech suit on looking sweet. His kid's teeth is rotten and the other one got lice.
Charlie Langdon talked to the children's mom and grandma back in February.
Did the van run out of gas?
I have no idea what happened. I have no idea.
Did you fall asleep?
Yes.
And then when you woke?
Only night I fell asleep. I usually be woke.
Both Tatiana Williams and her mom, Yvette Goodman, have been questioned by Detroit police. No arrests were made. Now the Wayne County prosecutor will decide if anyone should be charged in the case. Mayor Mike Duggan vowing wraparound services for Williams after learning she did not receive help when calling the city's homeless hotline.
Laura Hemme says, you know, I like to interact with the chat. That's bogus. She needed help from the city, family, and the church. Okay, cool. Let's explore that for a minute. You had children. You had another child under duress. And then you had another child with another baby daddy. And your grandmother is homeless and you homeless, but you having sex and you partying in a club, because I seen the video. I don't know when that video was from, if you can justify it actually being after the kids died or before. So your bad decisions, because and the reason why this comment hit me so hard and why I know that you're wrong is because I have people that I deal with and that I reach out to and that I pay their rent and that I make sure that they're not homeless and I try to cover them and I cover their court costs and I cover their lawyer costs and they always find themselves in a situation. And so we got all of us have family members that can't get right or refuse to do the thing possible that they're supposed to do. And no matter how many houses I put them in, and no matter how much they get fired from their job, and no matter how much they align themselves with people that they're not supposed to be having sex with, no matter how many windows they get busted out, and no matter how many times they get arrested, you know what we do? We have to come together as a family to make sure that we protect them. So at what point is it not the city's responsibility, that it's not the church's responsibility, that it's not your family's responsibility? At what point? Because, you know, I had a conversation with somebody the other day that is a part of my family that I gotta keep dealing with. And I said, hey, what is wrong with you? I said, don't you realize that you are part of the whole family? And if you mess up, you make the whole family look bad. And this is the honest to God truth. I said, you remember that story of the woman whose kids died in the parking lot? And the first thing that people started saying is, well, where's the family members? How come they're not supporting them? It's not always everybody else's fault because you not doing what you're supposed to do. Why is it everybody else's fault? Because you not doing what you're supposed to do. At some point, you are an adult. You have to take responsibility for the situation that you put you in. It's nobody else's fault that Anton is successful or Anton is poor. Anton is 100% responsible for Anton. Not my family, not the city, not the church, not nobody. It's all my fault. Win or lose, I take ownership of every single thing in my life. Stop blaming everybody else for your circumstances. Stop. That's a plus. That's a benefit. If the church is there to help you, cool. If the city is there to help you, cool. If your family is there to help you, awesome. I encourage people to lean into their tribe and their support system, but you are responsible for you. Stop blaming everybody else for your problems, fam.
She also received a free home on the city's west side from the Detroit Rescue Mission Ministries.
This cannot ever happen again.
Detroit Police Chief Todd Bettison not going on camera today, stressing in a statement put out on social media and to the media that this next step is standard protocol when it comes to their criminal investigations, and any charging decision will fall on the prosecutor's office. Reporting downtown Detroit.
So I'm going to keep my eye on this story that I thought was going to go away. I'll stay on top of it. And then last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Junior Bridgeman. A lot of people may not be familiar with Junior Bridgeman. I always try to end after hours at least with something positive, even though it is a tragedy. Junior Bridgeman died, I believe, at 71. He was a former NBA player that came up in a time where they didn't make a whole lot of money at all. I mean, they may have made decent money at the time that they made it, but he was able to grow his net worth to over $600 million. Recently was an investor in the Milwaukee Bucks and was taking 10% ownership of the franchise, was largely a guy that was looked at positively, did a lot of philanthropy, and then also was an encouragement, was a smart businessman, and he was able to be very careful and responsible, make the right investments, and grow his net worth. Recently died because of health problems.
And we're coming back on the air with breaking news on the death of a Milwaukee Bucks legend. Junior Bridgeman has died. He played for the Bucks. He turned his years in the NBA and what was not a huge NBA salary at the time into more than $1 billion. In 2016, Junior Bridgeman was the fourth wealthiest former athlete out there in the league of Arnold Palmer, David Beckham, Michael Jordan. Milwaukee's Junior Bridgeman. Just in September, he was able to buy 10% of the Milwaukee Bucks, becoming a minority owner in the team that he used to play for. He was 71 years old. He used his money for philanthropy. He was in Louisville today speaking at the Galt House. He played his college basketball in the city of Louisville, and he was back there today, as he has been so many times over the years. No confirmation on an exact cause of death, but a reporter in the room for the NBC station in Louisville said he grabbed his chest and he said he thought he was having a heart attack. Again, just terrible news about somebody who's meant.
Fellas, I personally been saying it myself, but I really, it's hit me. It really has hit me hard. Not personally, like anything happening to me, thank God. But we are getting older. I don't care if you're 28, 29, 30, 40, 50, 60. As a 42-year-old man today, yesterday, and some people that was here inside of the chat, shout out to everybody that watches regularly. Yesterday, I went back and somebody asked me a question about a previous watch that I bought, my first Rolex, and which watch should they buy. I went back and I looked at a video back in when I bought my first Rolex in Chicago years and years and years ago. And I looked at it and I was like, God, look how skinny I am. Look how skinny I was. And so I've been praying the prayer. That's been one of my main prayers for myself. I never pray for anything for myself, but I've been praying the prayer, bless my health to be commensurate with my wealth. Bless my health to be commensurate with my wealth. Yesterday it hit me. I got to be honest. Yesterday it hit me. It really did hit me. I don't want to be 71. 71 is a decent age, but I'd rather be 89 and great health and then having these conversations about what my legacy is. We too young to be going through some of the stuff that we could possibly put ourselves through if we not on top of it. I could stand to lose some weight. We all could stand to do better, and we got to put just as much effort into our health as we do into our success and our wealth once we get to a point in our lives where we are comfortable. The priority should also be that. So I am going to pledge that I dedicate myself to being smarter, wiser, and healthier and I would advise other people to do so. And we got to make sure that we go to the doctor and get checked up also. Okay. I love you. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get into Russia, Ukraine, Russia, and whether or not that's going to translate into a ceasefire. Shout out to Fi Brown, says, yo, chat, thanks for checking on me. I'm okay. I was going through a little rough patch, but I'm always here. I just wasn't in the chat heavy as usual. Love y'all. Shout out to my dog, Fi Brown. We love you, bro. We love you. Chasers is always there for the chasers. Roku says, they brought this on themselves. The family just wanted an apology. Now you're on the news. Shame. Take accountability. Yeah, you could have just apologized and kept it moving. Let me revisit that super chat real quick. They brought this on themselves. The family just wanted an apology. Now you are on the news. Shame, take accountability. I never actually shared the details of how my father died. Because I know that there was a lot of rumors, and I never felt the need to address it or anything like that. There was a lot of rumors about me getting a lawsuit money and all of this other type of stuff from the job, wrongful death, and all of that. It wasn't. My father transitioned over from being the head of maintenance at an apartment facility, into being his own individual contractor. And he was on a job by himself. So my father was uninsured, and he didn't have life insurance. He was not insured as far as like on himself from his own business, because he was transitioning into his own business. And then he was also going to get the restaurant. So I was building a restaurant for him at the time. And that was the restaurant that I wound up running because I was in corporate America. I was building it for him to give it to him as a retirement gift to get him out of working for other people. In the meantime, he was also doing his own thing. So he was on his own individual job, right? He had gotten hired by somebody at a house. It happened at a house in a basement, and he was working on a sump pump, and then it wound up being a freak accident. I went and visited the guy, right? The guy's house. It wound up being an Indian man, and I wound up visiting his house. And I was there, and obviously I had got called off from work or whatever. So the next day, I went to the Indian guy's house where the accident happened, and I asked him, I said, hey, can I just see how he died? You know what I'm saying? Can I see what happened? Can you show me what happened? And he was very, very, very apprehensive. And I understand why he was apprehensive, because even though he was very apologetic and sensitive to what happened to my father at his house, he did not want to let me in. And I'm sure it was because he didn't want any liability reasons or whatever. And so I never told him like, yo, I'm not going to do nothing or whatever. I just said, please, man, I just want to see it or whatever. And so he was like, skip it. Come on in. So I could see his family. I could see the man's family. It was an Indian guy. I could see his family on the steps and stuff. And it was a pretty big house. And then he took me into the basement, and he showed me how my father had died. He showed me the space where he had died and all of that stuff. And I'm going to withhold some details or whatever, but I like being vulnerable. I like being honest. So I'm just going to tell you what happened. And this was in 2017. So he took me down there, and I held it together. You know what I'm saying? I never wanted to show weakness in the face of other people. And I never cried after my father died until a year after he died, and I was by myself, and I was able to release because I had so much burden on me because I had to pay for the funeral and take care of everything. And I had to be strong for my mother. I found out that my father had tax problems, and he had owed back taxes, which was going to hurt my mother. And so I had to take care of that. I paid off all of the taxes. We made sure that my mother was taken care of. So that fell on my shoulders as my father's son to make sure that everything was straight with the family. Once everything got smoothed out, my mother was taken care of and everything like that, then that's when I eventually broke down and cried. But to reference back to that super chat, when I was down there and I looked in the basement or whatever, and he showed me how my father died, and it really was a freak accident. It wasn't anybody's fault. It could have happened at any time. It just so happened to be my father be the one that died in that situation. He apologized, and it wasn't his fault, but he apologized because it truly was an accident. And the police wound up coming because, they just wanted to make sure that nothing happened, that I didn't attack him or anything like that. But the police was just like, we went outside and he was like, the guy, police officer, and it was in Novi, Michigan. He said, so what you gonna do? And I told him, I said, you don't have to apologize any guilt. I told him, I said, any guilt that you have, just let it go. It's not your fault. Don't carry this burden. Be a good man for your family. And this is the honest to God on my father's grave truth. And I told the guy, the Indian guy, I said, be a good man to your family. And if you want to repay me and what happened, just make sure that you pay it forward and you do great things on this earth and you be a good man and a good, good father to your family. And that was it. It was it. I say that to say that when you are authentic and you are honest and you are apologetic and you are sincere and passionate, you will get much further in life than if you try to hold on to the lie or you try to, cover it up or you try to finesse. And this goes back to the situation with the runner. I know it's completely unrelated, but that super chat actually drove up something in me that prompted or motivated me to even share this information with you guys. Again, just for the sake of conversation, I've never had a lawsuit. It wasn't a job. So any kind of rumor of people making things up, and I'm incredibly blessed. My mother is well taken care of. My family is straight. I've been doing really well. I've never got a lawsuit, never got any lawsuit money. My mother never got no lawsuit money. My brothers never got no lawsuut money. And my mom was like, man, I don't understand these rumors because why wouldn't the money come to me instead of going to you? But no wrongful death, anything, no lawsuits, no none of that. No settlement money, no nothing of that. It was just a completely mistake, under the bridge, forgiveness, life goes on, death happens to everybody. So take ownership and responsibility of your situation 10 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10 is going to be okay. But you got to take ownership and responsibility of your situation. All right? There you go. So anyways, let me continue on with the super chats. I'm going to read the rest of these and then we're going to continue on with the show. Morning AD in the bag chaser. She wound up on Shorty like a windmill. They need to zoom in to see if she was biting that bottom lip. If so, then guilty. Brandon Burke says, I'm trolling. I just wanted to derail the show. I did not take a call from Anton Daniels. I hope you was. Anton, she is from my city. She meant to do it. That's the city's mentality, Sasi says. Nahum G says she calls it on herself by not apologizing. Pookie's friend Ray Ray, and sometimes it don't even have to. Well, let me not get into that. Dang, so they were neglecting those kids in the first place. Time for mine to get some education at Conn College. Jason A-Team says, is this the same person with the kids? Yep, it's the same person with the kids that frozen in the car. It is the same story. Shout out to MP. MP, I appreciate you. Thank you for holding me down. Anton, I know I troll your other pages, but I took your advice and been intentional. Paid off all my debt, got all my tax stuff straightened with the IRS, and now I close on my first home on April 7th. Keep doing the God's work, big dog. This is why I say that we do not censor people. As long as they are not disrespectful, we not gonna completely censor people, because just because somebody was dusty at one point does not mean that they don't transform, evolve, and become the best version of themselves. So we gonna keep working with people. Shout out to MP. I love it. Bella B in the building says, God bless AD. Did you cover Caleb Wilson hazing? Nah, send that to me in an email. Florida Panoramic says, don't be the richest man in the grave. Arbitrage. Lord Hemi says, I recommend Jason Wilson's new book for all men. Yeah, I got the Jason Wilson interview. I literally got the Jason Wilson interview. I'm just dragging my feet on making sure that I edit it. Shout out to Laura Hemi. I appreciate you. Thomas G says, that girl that hit her took place in my city at my former high school. Whatever they say she did, it happened. It's Eastside High Part 2. Roku says, sorry for your loss, Anton. Thank you for sharing. No problem. Life and death happens to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Salute to you. Most men would have crashed out with all of that pressure. Got to maintain. People don't think that life happens to everybody. It really does. A 50 and 220 and the 225s, I'm stealing that. Shout out to you for keeping me informed and entertained during this work shift. Congrats, man. Get that money. Oh my God, I was literally algorithm bombed by reaction videos about you yesterday. About me? God bless you, brother. How was the transition from Mama D to up to the time she remarried? My brother's been in the fog since his wife of 17 years passed in 16. My mom, we kept her busy. My mom actually worked for me. So we just kept her busy. We made sure that she was straight financially. She worked for me. And believe it or not, interestingly enough, it's interesting that you asked me that, because my mother's new husband, the one that she's married to now, met her by coming into my restaurant where she was working at. And then he asked for my blessing to talk to her. And then that's when he approached her and he said that he had been seeing her every day and then all of this other type of stuff. And he wound up being literally almost just like my father that passed away. So it was cool. As long as she stayed busy, she wasn't caught up on nothing. She wasn't trying to date. She wasn't trying to be out here. She just got more involved in, being active in her grandkids' lives and stuff like that. And so she just stayed busy. She never really got caught up in any of that. So that's really what happened. It's crazy. It's crazy. He met her working at my restaurant and she was working for me because she was running the day shift for me. So crazy how life works, right? Crazy how life works. Anyways, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into this Russia. All right. So the Trump says that their team is en route to Russia to try to convince Putin to accept Ukraine's peace treaty or ceasefire deal.
Meeting with Vladimir Putin scheduled. I won't comment on that, but we had a great success yesterday. We have a full ceasefire if it kicks in. We have to see. It's up to Russia now, but we've had a good relationship with both parties actually. And we'll see. We'll be knowing people are going to Russia right now as we speak. And hopefully we can get a ceasefire from Russia. And if we do, I think that would be 80% of the way to getting this horrible bloodbath finished. It's a bloodbath is taking place over there. On average, 2,000 to 3,000 young people a week are being killed in that stupid war that would have never happened if I were president.
So Trump is basically saying that his people, right? For those of you that may not be familiar, yesterday we talked about it. Ukraine, right? Russia has been in a war for 3 years now. They've recently marked the 3-year anniversary. And Zelensky, although he was, buffing his chest up and insulting Donald Trump in the Oval Office and J.D. Vance, obviously once Trump said, we're going to start pulling resources if you guys don't start getting your lives together and you need to bend the knee. He agreed to a ceasefire deal, which also include the United States of America having mineral rights so that we can recoup some of the money that we've given to Ukraine. Now, the other part of the equation, just like any relationship, is Russia has to come to the table and accept the deal. Now, the ball is 100% in their court. They cannot sit here and say that it is Ukraine's fault anymore. They can't say that it's their fault that we're still fighting this war, that Zelensky doesn't want to end it. Yes, we can hold Zelensky accountable for the things that he's done up to this point, especially when it came to kidnapping people and putting them in the front lines and throwing them in war. But here's Caroline that speaks on exactly what's going on. She says that they are at the 10-yard line for peace, world peace, especially when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. Check it out.
For more, let's bring in White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. I want to get to Ukraine in just a moment, but first of all, Caroline, some pretty good news on the inflation front. A surprising report that during his first full month of his presidency, inflation dropped to 2.8% year over year, reduction of 0.2% month over month. The president also pointed out a moment ago with the Taoiseach of Ireland, Michael Martin, that egg prices are down 30% in recent days.
Wait a minute. What happened to all of the people before we get to this whole Russia thing? What happened to all of the people that said, why ain't inflation down immediately? Egg prices are still crazy. What happened to all of the people that was sitting there whining and complaining? How come they won't bring themselves to the front of the congregation and saying, okay, well, we're going to give Trump credit for actually lowering egg prices by 30% and having these peace deals and these peace treaties? How come the people are not bringing themselves forward and saying, you know what? Yep, Trump is doing a phenomenal job. Yep, they did bring down egg prices. Yep, they do have things taken care of. Yep, inflation is going down. Yep, he is absolutely taking care of it. I just want to make sure that we all on the same page. I don't want us to forget. I don't want us to, because you know y'all will say something and then y'all won't bring yourselves back forward to say, you know what, I did say that. You know what, it is things changing. Less than 2 months into his administration, things have already started changing. Let's get back to
Let's bring it White. First full month of his presidency, inflation dropped to 2.8% year over year, reduction of 0.2% month over month. The president also pointed out a moment ago with the Taoiseach of Ireland, Michael Martin, that egg prices are down 30% in recent days, and oil sits right now at about $67 a barrel. And that's something that consumers really care about.
Yeah, that's right, John. And it's a promise that President Trump is keeping to the American people. This administration is wholeheartedly focused every single day on driving down costs for the American people through massive deregulatory efforts and, of course, by unleashing American energy dominance, which we know will end the inflation nightmare created by the previous administration. And this CPI report today is welcome news, and it's not what the so-called experts or the mainstream media predicted. They continue to cast doubt on President Trump and his economic agenda, even though he has a proven record of it working in his first term. And if you look at that report today, inflation has gone down. The core inflation index is actually the lowest it's been in 4 years. Gas prices have fallen. Airline fares have fallen. And also today, we saw two massive companies announce new investments in manufacturing in the United States of America. The Japanese beer company Asahi announced new manufacturing, new jobs in Wisconsin. All of these companies are realizing that the United States of America is the best place to do business, the lowest taxes in the world. That's what they will have under this president.
Wait a minute. So not only are we lowering inflation and the price of groceries and eggs, but we also have more companies that's choosing to invest in the United States of America. Are you telling me that tariffs are working? What? No way, you don't say.
Caroline, speaking of oil, for years, since 2022, the Treasury Department's been issuing this waiver. It's Russian General License 8L that allows other countries to continue to buy Russian oil using the U.S. dollar, the U.S. payment system. Biden's waiver expired at midnight last night. Did the president renew it? Because if he didn't, it could send oil prices up by $5 a barrel.
Well, I don't know whether the president did or not. From my understanding, he hasn't, Jackie, but I can definitely double check and get back with you. I would defer you also to the Department of Treasury. But when it comes to Russia right now, as you know, the president's team continues to be in correspondence with the Russians. In fact, our national security advisor, Mike Walz, had a call with his Russian counterpart today in a pursuit of ending this war and striking a peace deal with Russia and with Ukraine. We had great progress on that front yesterday with the Secretary of State and our national security advisor having those peace talks in Saudi Arabia. The Ukrainians have finally agreed to a ceasefire and have agreed to this long-term peace plan. And we expect, we hope, and we urge the Russians to do the same. And our team is currently working on getting this done.
So in recent days, up until recent days, I guess, the president was being criticized for abandoning Ukraine, siding with Putin. Now a ceasefire appears to be potentially within grasp. What's the over and under there at the White House as to whether or not Putin bites on this?
Well, we certainly hope that he does. And again, our team has been working diligently on negotiating a peace plan that works for both sides to finally end this war. And in any good plan, any good deal, both sides are going to be a little bit happy about some things and maybe unhappy about others. But that's how you negotiate a good deal. And that's what Secretary of State Rubio and our National Security Advisor were working hard on yesterday in Saudi Arabia. And again, this is about long-term peace and stability. And look at the tremendous progress that has been made by President Trump and this incredible team. I mean, before President Trump came into office, there was zero chance of a peace deal. Nobody was even talking about that. The only talk about this war in the United States was about sending more blank checks for the American taxpayer, who are incredibly tired of funding this effort. And so it's only because of the leadership of President Trump and his peace through strength approach, which the American people and the whole world did see on display in front of the cameras in that Oval Office meeting with Zelensky, that we are now at a place, we are on the 10th yard line of peace in this nearly 3-year-long war. Thousands of people have died, and President Trump is working hard to end the bloodshed, and now it's up to the Russians to agree to this plan.
Can we give Trump some credit? Okay, all right. Y'all don't even have to give Trump credit on anything up to this point. Even though it's people in the chat, and I haven't been able to substantiate this yet, but feel free to email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. Even though there are people in the chat that is saying, yo, USAID was shredding documents and all of these emails and stuff going on, even though we see Democrats trying to divert our attention away from the successes, if we get a ceasefire and a peace deal, will y'all then give Trump some credit for getting us out of war again? We got no new wars while he was in office the first term. We're on a 10-yard line, according to his spokesperson, the White House press secretary, of getting this deal done. He's already got Zelensky to agree to a ceasefire. Russia, his people is flying over to meet with Putin over in Russia today. Can we please, if Trump gets this done, will you then be able to give him some credit, or are you still going to say that he hateful, he racist, he's not what's best for America, none of that type of stuff? They say, for example, because I've seen Democrats come up off the talking point and saying, oh, he just wants to make his billionaire friends richer. I went and did the research today. Before Trump became president and he went into his inauguration on January 20th, Tesla was at a high, and Elon Musk was $188 billion richer than he is today. So Elon Musk, for example, which is one of the reasons that he's stressed. It's another reason why I believe that Vivek Ramaswamy wind up getting off the Doge team, because I don't think he wanted this type of heat once they started finding what they wanted to find. Trump has lost an estimated $180 to $90 billion off of his net worth. So who is benefiting off of the Trump campaign? How do you benefit from something when they know that the stock markets are going to be in turmoil? You know that your equity is directly tied to whatever the valuation of your company is. He knows that there's going to be half of the country that protests against him. And if he's lost an estimated 180 billion plus within 2 to 3 months, how is he benefiting from the Trump administration and him getting richer? I'm sorry, Elon Musk. I'm sorry. Elon Musk. Did I say Trump? Elon Musk lost an estimated $180 billion off of his net worth since Trump became president. And he's been going through with a fine-tooth comb to find out where all of the fraud, waste, and abuse is and with the Department of Government Efficiency. You know what I meant, C. Diggs. I'm sorry if I misquoted it. So how can the Democrats now use that as a talking point when Elon Musk is the one that's suffering from it?
Caroline, you mentioned that Mike Walz had a phone call with his counterpart, and I'm hoping you might be able to shed some light on a Bloomberg report that just crossed. It says that Russian officials hadn't discussed with the U.S. The agreement that was agreed to in Saudi Arabia, and that they find that framework unacceptable,
Raph, he is losing money
saying that they'll need to ask for their own conditions before agreeing.
Because it is much more beneficial for you to be quiet and then just continue to profit off of everybody buying your vehicles versus you taking a position in a stance and actually finding out where the fraud, waste, and abuse is, in which they start to segment themselves away from people that don't agree with Trump. And so he then went with what he believed in, and he also wants to save the American taxpayers from themselves of continuing to enable Congress to throw all of your money away and send it over to Ukraine. So there's a lot of people that actually make sacrifices on your behalf, but then they will demonize him and villainize him and say somehow he's getting richer as a result of it. How?
To any sort of a truce, but we've seen in the past Russia has made a series of demands, including that Ukraine should become a neutral nation, cede the territory that it's already occupying, reduce the size of its military. This is sort of predictable from Russia. What was the response plan from the U.S. side if this was the answer that came out?
Well, I won't comment on that report, which was based on anonymous sources, nor will I get ahead of these negotiations with Russia. Again, our team is actively engaged. Mr. Witkoff, Steve Witkoff, the president's special envoy, is making his way to Moscow this week, again, to urge the Russians to sign on to this negotiation, and we hope that they will.
All right, so let's move on to tariffs, because while we had some good...
So we're going to talk about tariffs next, but shout out to the ceasefire deal that the Trump administration has been able to broker with Zelensky and Ukraine. I hope and I pray, and I have all of the confidence in the world that Vladimir Putin and Russia will come to their senses and then agree to a ceasefire, because I can't imagine how this benefits them at all. If they in any remote way want to save their reputation and also want to bolster the relationship that he possibly has, that Trump says that he has with the United States of America, then hopefully he comes to a deal and he agrees to a ceasefire so that they can negotiate a longer-term peace deal. If not, then we're going to have to come back to the front of the congregation and address what the issue is. I truly, in my heart, believe that the Trump administration will solve for the problem, that they will get this deal done. And if he does get this deal done, then he will be considered one of the greatest presidents of all time, and he will be considered one of the greatest negotiators of all time. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with turning your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with with the show. Scooter Longway says, what up, though? What up, Scooter? I appreciate you. Rav says, I lost my pops too, and nobody stays dusty forever. Side note. Shout out to you, Raph. I appreciate you. Unbiasedly Raw says that girl should be charged with aggravated manslaughter. Oh, for the kids. I don't like the way she smiles and laughs in interviews. She's heading to open up the gate of fire. I'm next in Q. I'm next in Q says people are prematurely reactive. Let time tell. Kev Studus says, Anton, yesterday I came across a video with you and Bricks Fitness in it. It gave me extra motivation to get back in the gym. Shout out to Bricks. I'm going to have to hit him up and see what he's talking about. Executive Suite Emily says, you can't satisfy the radical left. Never satisfied, just like their mama. They will always say, but she didn't do this. We can't save them, F them. Frank Whitaker is in the building. Says, just in, GE Aerospace is investing $1 billion into America this year, according to the Epoch Times, hiring 5,000 workers in the industry. Let me get a round of applause for Trump. We're going to save people from themselves, and they're not even going to give him no credit. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with turning your notifications. New tariffs. All right? Trump yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday, decided that he wants to make sure that we bring all manufacturing back to the United States of America. And that angered some people. It angered some people. It angered some of our allies. It angered some of our friends over in Canada and the European Union and all of these places, right? But we got to do what's best for America. So Trump said 25% tariffs on any steel and aluminum that comes into the United States of America. Of course, they said that we're going to respond with force. And then they put their own reciprocal tariffs on the United States of America because we went with worldwide tariffs on aluminum and steel. But Trump is no stranger to negotiation and being in a position of strength. And so Trump is now threatening 200% tariffs as of this morning. News just came in this morning as I was preparing for the show. 200% tariffs on European wine and spirits. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is what's happening.
Do want to take you out to some breaking news that we are following with the help of the Associated Press and Reuters. U.S. President Donald Trump saying today that he would put a 200% wine tariff on all wines and other alcoholic products coming out of the European Union if the bloc did not remove its tariff on whiskey. The European Commission saying Wednesday that it would impose counter tariffs on 26 billion euros. That translated there is $28 billion worth of U.S. goods from next month, ramping up a global trade war in response to blanket U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum. The EU executive saying, however, that it remained open to any kind of negotiations and considered higher tariffs in no one's interest. Trump raised the ante in a social media post on Thursday. Do want to pop that up for you right here on your screen, and I'm going to read it in full. He says, the European Union, one of the most hostile and abusive taxing and tariffing authorities in the world, which was formed for the sole purpose of taking advantage of the United States, has just put a nasty 50% tariff on whiskey. If this tariff is not removed immediately, the U.S. will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU-represented countries. This will be great for the wine and champagne businesses in the U.S. Again, that is a quote here coming in on social media from President Donald Trump a short time ago. We know that U.S. stock futures moved lower and shares of European spirit makers dropped here as that post did come out from Trump. The European Commission said it will end its current suspension of tariffs on U.S. products on April 1st and that its tariffs will be fully in place by April 13th. We know
that's my birthday, April 13th. That is my birthday. Let's look at this from the other angle. We don't want to just get the news from Fox. We also want to get it from CNN and see what they have to say about the whole situation.
A major escalation in President Trump's trade war. The president now firing back at the retaliation Europe took yesterday. Here is what he just posted. Quote, the European Union has just put a nasty 50% tariff on whiskey. If this tariff is not removed immediately, the U.S. will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU-represented countries.
I know they got a new look that they're using over there at CNN, and I think that it's a phenomenal set. I'm sure that they spent millions of dollars on that set and stuff like that. But what's up with this whole full body thing that they got going on here for certain people? Do you get a preference? Do you get to say, you know what? I'm not in the shape that I want to be in yet. I'm in the gym. I'm working. I'm getting to it. And this is before we get to the tariffs. I'm working on it. I'm getting to it. I want to do from the chest up. I'm not necessarily wanting to do it from the whole body angle. Just curious. I know we're going to get used to it. I know it's a relatively new thing, but I'm just wondering what CNN got going on there. What kind of investments are they making in themselves?
CNN's Elena Treen with us right now. We've got this message here.
How do you have wide hips and a flat butt? Oh, y'all out here built like Teletubbies. Jesus Christ. I was expecting for that thing to poke out. Poke it out. Work it out. Anyways, let's continue.
This is the president sort of jumping back at France, who by the way, was hit with tariffs when he put a huge tariffs on the EU this week. What are you hearing?
Yeah, look, Sarah, this is actually, I mean, one, not totally unexpected, given if you've listened to what the president has said repeatedly. He really, and when I talk to Trump administration and White House officials, they essentially say that they believe that the president is right to put these tariffs on these different countries. And if they're going to retaliate with tariffs of their own, that he's going to punch back several times harder. And that is what we are seeing today with this announcement in this Truth Social post. I just want to read a little bit for you. He said he would impose a 200% tariff on alcoholic beverages from the EU. He said if this tariff is not removed immediately, that's the 50% tariff, that the European government had put on United States goods following the tariffs that Trump had initially placed on all steel.
I did not get that level of dislikes. I got some dislikes that popped up on my screen when I said, why is the hips wide with the butt flat? Come on, ladies. Come on, ladies. We all got work to do. I just held my own self accountable and said that I need to make sure that I'm on top of things and I'm in the gym. We talking about tariffs. We talking about wine and spirits. We don't need no more wine and spirits anyway right now. We don't need no alcohol. It got sugar in it, a lot of it. We need to focus on the gym. We need to focus on working out. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe it's a sign. Don't be getting mad. Ticey says body shaming sad. Wait a minute. When did body shaming become sad? Ty. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Listen. We could all stand to be less potentially victims of diabetes. Look, we done with the diversity, equity, and inclusion talk. We not doing that no more. This is not a place where I am going to make you feel better about yourself. This is a place where we hold people accountable because we want the best for you. Okay, if I body shame you and then it puts an extra 5 to 10 years on your life, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I know y'all not out here feeling bad because somebody said that you too big for the clothes that you're wearing. Listen, we got work to do. We all got work to do. It just is what it is. Myself included. We got work to do. We are not the best version of ourselves. We are not meeting the expectations that we should be meeting. We should be looking just as good as our bank account is. I'm not going to push. And see, the only reason that I ain't even pushing y'all on a fitness front is because I haven't met the expectation myself either. So I have to hold my own self accountable. Am I mad at myself for body shaming myself? No, I got work to do. I looked at a video that I did years ago and I said, you know what? I got work to do. Stop being extra. Oh, I'm going to dislike it because it's body shaming. Get your big behind up and get to working out. Let's change our diet. Let's change the things that we put in our body. Let's hold ourselves accountable. Push ourselves. You big. It just is what it is. Now what? I can't believe in the body shaming. I'm ashamed to not be body shamed. I'm going to hit a dislike. Okay, well then you hit a dislike and put that donut in your mouth. We done with donuts until we get to the space that we want to be in.
Steel and aluminum coming to the United States. He said if this tariff is
Trust me. You don't want a big bag. Big bag. Guys can get away with it a little more than women, but women, trust me, you don't want to be a big bag. That's the last thing you want to be is a big bag. You know what I'm saying? We good, but then you got to be the awkward girl. When I was just in Miami 2 weeks ago, and we was chilling, and me and Rita was slow motion. And it was 4 black girls that was walking down the street, and they was about to head over to Miami Beach. And all of them was bigger than they should have been. But it was one really big one. And she was and I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm being honest with you. She was very, very, very self-conscious. You could tell because she kept doing like this. Because they all had on swimsuits, and they all had their stomachs and stuff out. Had the nerve to have on bikinis. She kept doing like this and stuff because she knew she wasn't ready. She knew she would, but she didn't want to not go with the group. You know what I'm saying? She didn't want to not go with the group. And so she just winged it. And then they thought that they could put that little sheer over them. And they was walking by talking about big back, big back. It's the honest to God truth. And everybody, she knew she was uncomfortable. Her friends knew she was uncomfortable. But guess what? They was going to Miami Beach to go whale bathe. Ooh. Ooh. Time to get it together. If you don't like what I said, then do something about it. We got to do something about it. It just is what it is. Some of y'all is skinny fat. Some of you got little legs. And you built like an upside down Coke bottle. Keep on getting waist trainers and going on TikTok shop. Look at how it hides my rolls. No, man, we not doing that no more. We getting ourselves together. Let's go. Wine, tariffs, spirits, we back.
Removed immediately, the U.S. will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU-represented countries. He went on to argue that this would be great for the wine and champagne business in the United States. But look, I think this shows, this approach that the president and his administration is taking, shows just how quickly some of this tariff policy can get out of hand. We are really seeing this not only stop-and-go approach, but also this tit-for-tat retaliation back and forth with a lot of these different allies of the United States that are beginning to really not only obviously affect the markets, which we have seen on a downward spiral for the last couple of days now, but also the relationships that the United States have with these different trading partners. Now, I do also want to point out, though, how Donald Trump sees this as a negotiating tactic. He made that very clear yesterday in the Oval Office. And part of that negotiation we are going to see continue today when Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and the United States Trade Representative Jamieson Green.
Y'all said they be eating skinny popcorn. What the heck is skinny popcorn? I ain't never seen no skinny. What is skinny popcorn? Dog, if you got to pick skinny popcorn, you probably shouldn't even eat popcorn. What's the point of popcorn? Is like one of the worst things that you can get for yourself if you're not supposed to be eating nothing bad. What is skinny popcorn? It's not. What is it like? What is it? Kale popcorn? Y'all wild, man.
Is going to meet with some of Canada's top officials, Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Elena, when you consider this, I've never thought I'd ever have to say this, but there might be a run on champagne because France is the only one that officially has the champagne as a name. Everything else is sparkling wine. We will see what happens here, but this is what a trade war is. If you start and someone else responds, you're then in the middle of a big fight. Elena Treen, thank you so much for your reporting there from the White House for us. I want to get straight to the breaking news, which is Donald Trump is threatening even bigger tariffs on Europe because of the EU responding and France responding to the initial tariffs, saying that they're going to put a 50% tariff on U.S. alcohol. Trump now saying he's going to put a 200% tariff
Trump
on
ain't
any
messing around.
of the alcoholic beverages coming.
So basically, the
from
cost
France.
of y'all alcohol is.
I want to let you both listen to what we heard from Tommy Tuberville before Donald Trump made this new fight even stronger. Here's what he said about how Americans should be responding to the tariffs.
No pain, no gain. That's what we used to tell our football players. There's going to be some pain with tariffs. But tariffs got us back as the strongest economy in the world when President Trump was in the first time. He knows what he's doing. Democrats, get out of the way. Shut up. You have no answers.
Zolan, what do you think about what you're hearing from Tommy Tuberville telling Democrats, look, you get out of the way. You don't have any answers.
Is that a afro? Or is that a hat that's sticking up like this? Is that an afro? And what's wrong with his collars? Look, usually when you go on these programs, you can get yourself together and stuff before you go live. You get in the mirror, you fix it. What's up with this collar right there? One way that y'all don't have to deal with that is if you get collars, if you just gonna have an open shirt and you don't put a tie on it, like my collars right here, it actually has a collar that button up right here so that you don't have to worry about your collars being drunk. You know what I'm saying?
And everyone else who is looking at these tariffs, when you look at the polling, says we don't like them.
You know, one of the more significant changes when it comes to the rhetoric of Republicans and allies of President Trump and Trump himself has been the remarks about consumer prices and almost the message to voters about what to expect in terms of the pain, the economic pain that they may feel. There with Tuberville's remarks, I also hear no pain, no gain. And there's something interesting there. It's almost like you're hearing Republicans continue to tell voters that they're may actually trying to almost hedge expectations on the economic frustrations that will come. We know that with this administration that the president has centered in many ways his foreign policy when it comes to the Western Hemisphere as well as Europe around tariff threats. We know that that's going to continue. The thing to watch now moving forward is how do voters respond, especially as the weeks go on and you may see most economists would say consumer prices would go up. As that frustration builds, will voters start
Latoya,
to turn
you cracking
that
up?
frustration
I'm
against
just trying
the
to give people a couple tips as
and
I see them.
against
And
the
let me
position.
tell you why. So as far as the tariffs, we already know, I've explained this 1,000 times for the people that's new here. Trump is incentivizing us to value American products, value American production, embrace our own brands, which I believe that we should embrace in our own brand. As far as champagne, for me, I use Shirlin champagne. It was from Isaiah Thomas. It's a much better product. It's actually really good. It doesn't have the sugar in it that have you crashing and going up and down depending on whatever it is that you drink, and that's an alternative to it. So I tend to try to embrace more American and domestic products in the same way that people in Canada and Europe is saying, well, we not going to take no more American products. We're going to take it off of our shelves. So same thing for us. I think that Trump with these tariffs is putting us in a better negotiating position to not only, bring down a trade deficit, but to also incentivize other companies to invest in the United States of America and to motivate you guys to actually take care of home. You know what I'm saying? I go to local breweries. I drink local beer. I also embrace when they come out with a new whiskey that is local and stuff like that. So I like supporting the localities around me that allows for us to continue to put money in the pockets of our neighbors and our neighborhoods. I just do. Now, when it comes to the looks and the things that I'm saying, do you see how drunk and crazy that he looks? Right? The problem, and one of the reasons that you have to wear a uniform and you have to make sure that yourself is together, you got to shave your head, you got to make sure that you look halfway decent, that you don't have beady beads in your hair, that you ain't looking dusty, is because it distracts people from the message and it allows for them to actually focus on what you're talking about instead of where you're lacking and where you mess up. People don't get that, and don't tell me don't judge, because that's what we do, and that's why we got a camera and why we want to see who's talking. When you have yourself together, when your collars aren't drunk, when your suit coat isn't too big, when you're focused on what you look like, if you focus on taking care of business of what you look like, you don't have to focus on how you looking stupid when you on camera, and you can communicate better. The people receive your message better, and they're not so focused on why you looking so dusty and why you're not brushing your teeth. All right. That is why it's easier for them to receive your message when they're not criticizing what you got wrong with you. Okay. And I didn't make the rules. That's just the way that it goes. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to move over to the next part of the show. What do we got next? Migrants. We got to get into migrants. We got to revisit Tim Walz, and then we got Rosie O'Donnell. She's self-deported, so we're going to get into all of that. High Tolerance says, prime example of hitting South Beach looking like a mummy. If you can't make love with the lights on, you need to do some work. That's a fact. That is a fact. Shout out to High Tolerance. Double Jeopardy says, getting the border closed and possible ceasefire. If he don't do anything else, he would have the most successful presidency in the last 40 years. Certainly did way more than Biden. That is a fact also. I want to go over to B. Schelling. B. Schelling said both sides approve funds to Ukraine. What are we talking about? Scooter Longway says, cover the Caleb Wilson story. The Q's at Southern U accidentally killed him in their demonic ritual. Email it to me, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com, and we could talk about it tomorrow. Oh, we could talk about it on After Hours maybe as a kickoff subject. Anton or either Trump are the only two people that can get Red Chain back from Debo. Shout out to you, big dog. I appreciate you. Big Squad G 937 says, it's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when we do it. Hashtag tariffs. Manuel AG says, flat butt, big back. Eric Welfare says, ain't nothing wrong with wide hips, leave Sarah alone. Face card pass. But what about the weight? Anyways, so a girl could just be big because she got a pretty face? Say, big back, big back, big back. What was that on Dora the Explorer? They put fried chicken on they salads. Crazy. As I'm in the gym listening to AD, it's no excuses, says 392Q. Bilderberg Boy, what up to Bilderberg Boy? Says, in the words of Corey Holcomb, shout out to all of the big girls with regular people legs. Wardrobe must have been a DEI hire too. Elim is in the building, says, Anton, I say unleash the Navy to shut down a sea only to friendly nations. I'm a black Navy combat veteran, and I've seen this done firsthand. I agree with everything Trump is doing. Big back, big back. Shout out to my dog, Elim. A.R. Smitty says, the eat light ranch dressing. Mr. Lott said, now ever since I can remember, I've been popping my collar. Popping my collar. Marie, what up, Marie says, if Trump cut them budgets, it's the same as your parents saying, kids, we can't eat out anymore because we broke for now. We are broke from now as a nation. Email. Shout out to you, Bella. I appreciate you for the email. Sigma Enigma says from 400 pounds to 280. Under 25% body fat. Lost friends, gained life, 100 pounds to go. No more excuses. No more 4XLs. Just discipline, health, and a future worth living. I love that. I love that. See, some people going to get motivated by it, and other people going to run in the Victim Olympics, but it's okay. It's all right. We're going to bring them along. We're going to drag them the same way that we did to the polls. All right, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I heard that Biden was juicing the numbers. Somebody told me that Biden was juicing the numbers of his immigration reform. They said Biden was juicing the numbers. Y'all know anything about that? Well, before we get into Biden juicing the numbers, sanctuary cities are allegedly harboring illegal gangs and cartel members, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
The feds are opening up a criminal investigation into New York City's migrant hotels. We got a lot, even demanding staff turn in names of illegals that they were housing. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin joins us now with more. Tricia, how many hotels are you looking at?
We're keeping everything on the table, Brian. And keep in mind, this Roosevelt Hotel that's so notorious, it is a base of operations for Tren de Aragua, which is a vicious gang. It's also housed Laken Riley's killer. But I'm so glad President Trump put a team together with Secretary...
Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that the infamous Roosevelt Hotel that was then getting paid from the government during the Biden administration and Eric Adams administration inside of New York City was actually a place that housed Laken Riley's killer? How come the Democrats won't say Laken Riley's name? How come Democrats won't take Laken Riley's name? How come the Democrats won't say that?
Secretary Noem, Attorney General Bondi, that's going to go after these criminal aliens. It is unacceptable that we have these sanctuary city policies. I know Secretary Noem was just in New York City last week. She called on the governor to end these sanctuary city policies. She called on the city council to end them. They are really harboring these gangs, these cartel members, these murders, and these rapists in New York City. It's making the city much less safe and Americans less safe.
Absolutely. So what they do, too, some of the gang members get there, and they'll take the other teenagers who are also there, and they'll convert them. Say, listen, you're not doing anything. You can't work. We're still waiting to go to school. So they become TDA right here in New York City in America. And you talk about this, 75% of the Midtown Manhattan arrests are illegal immigrants. That, according to the NYPD, not you. And what I think really has gotten under my skin when I heard about it, and must really drive you guys crazy, is what about the guy that lit the woman on fire Sebastian Zapata, I think his name is. He will not be, New York will not turn him over to ICE?
They will not.
These are some evil, evil, evil Democrats. Evil. Now, how come nobody is calling their Congress members over there in Dallas? How come nobody is calling their Congress members with AOC's district? Ain't she like in Brooklyn, Queens or something like that? How come nobody is calling their Congress members and saying, hey, how come you won't say these people's names? How come y'all won't push? They're more concerned with their agenda than they are with your safety, even in their own districts. They are more concerned with their agenda than they are with your safety. This should not be a bipartisan issue. The Democrats of the 90s would have never. The Democrats of the 2000s would have never, ever. When Obama was in office, he would have never. When Biden was Obama's vice president, he would have never, ever. They would never go for this nonsense. How can you justify not turning over killers and we're using taxpayer dollars to house them, to clothe them, to feed them, to give them health care coverage? How can you justify it? AOC is in the Bronx? I figured she was in the Bronx. Democrats of the 90s would have never went for this. They would have been like, man, get these people up out of here. They didn't believe in criminals that was from other nations. Now, they may have advocated against the death penalty or something like that or whatever, right? They may have said, hey, we want prison reform for American citizens or something, and we could have had that conversation going back and forth, but they would have never defended people that wasn't even American citizens. But the narrative is a part of all of the benefits that came along with financially getting money from cartel members and the trafficking of humans over here in the form of immigration reform and all of this stuff is that Democrats was hoping in a lot of these places that these people are able to vote and keep them in office because they need new constituents and they need new people to feed the Democratic plantation lie too. They would have never went for this.
Respect the lodging that ICE, so they will not return him over to ICE because of their sanctuary city policies. Secretary Noem just went to Coney Island subway stop, which was the site of that horrific, depraved act by that illegal alien. And we need that woman to see justice. We need New York City to see justice. We must end these sanctuary city policies and get these ICE officials the tools and resources they need to be able to do their jobs. They haven't been able to do it for 4 years.
So a couple of things are pretty clear. It looks like the catch and release program under President Biden, he would list it only as catch, not tell us they were released. This, according to Todd Lyons, acting ICE director, we have uncovered that the previous administration was cooking the books on ICE. They were purposely misleading the American people by categorizing individuals and processed and released into the interior of the United States as arrested. They go on. How disingenuous is that?
Well, the American people deserve to know the fact that not only was the Biden administration funding mass illegal immigration into this country, but then they were also lying about it. Under Biden, the Department of Homeland Security directed ICE that when they process hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, they should not detain them, but they should release them into the interior of our country and count it as an arrest to deceive the American people. It's been stunning to see what media outlets will not cover this. It should be uncovered.
And they choose not to. You will never see this ran on MSNBC. You will never see this ran on CNN. You will never see this ran on any of these liberal networks because they want to be sure. They want to be absolutely sure. And I'm going to work. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to work really hard at something. And I'll tell y'all what that is in a second.
So the ICE director, the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, yesterday broke news by saying, if you look at the numbers of the illegals that were arrested last year, fiscal year 2024, under Joe Biden, that they were counting those numbers as arrests, but then letting them back out into our country. The majority of them. Exactly. We caught you. We arrested you. They call it a pass-through arrest. The majority of the overall arrests made in fiscal year 2024, 113,431 arrests, were all pass-through arrests. And under Trump, out of all the ones that he has arrested this year so far, are not pass-through arrests. They're arresting them, and then they're locking them up, and they're working on deporting them. So, and Trump's actually on pace so far this year to have more arrests than Joe Biden did last year.
Yeah, we could surpass it. Here's the thing. You know, the Biden administration said, we're arresting a lot of people. They weren't arresting anybody. These were people who were just coming in the normal process. Okay, I'm surrendering. Okay, fine. You're going to go right into the interior of the United States. So it's just, they were cooking.
So they wasn't actually arresting anybody. So when y'all see, because the misconception is that the Biden administration started really getting people up out of here and it was really catching a lot of migrants. They wasn't. They was juicing the books, according to the Department of Homeland Security. And now that they're going through and auditing exactly what happened, and they trying to figure out, okay, well, if y'all was arresting all of these people, then how come so many people was still crossing over and going to Chicago and New York, and we were spending billions of dollars every single year to make sure that they're housed, clothed, fed. We giving them food card, food stamps. We buying new shelters. We're funneling money through staffing companies. We allegedly making sure that this building in particular is the one that we have to use as a migrant shelter, and we funneling money through that. How come it was such a huge number of illegal migrants, millions coming over here every single year during a pandemic at some points? Because from 2021, and that is the part that really blows my mind. Yo, when we was locked down, they told us we couldn't even go to New York unless we had a vaccine. They told us we could not go to New York unless we had a vaccine. There were places in this country that you couldn't even go. You couldn't go to work. And they had people coming over into the borders without any kind of problems, and all you had to do was put a mask on. All you had to do was put a mask. Man, I'm telling you, I've been covering this since 2021. Since 2021, I was like, yo, what is happening out here in these streets? And they was juicing the numbers, and so now we're discovering it, and this is why Biden probably was pardoning Dr. Fauci and all of these people back to all of this time. They backdated. They was never even charged with anything, but he made sure that he pardoned them. And then we was trying to figure out, and we kind of knew, but we don't know, right? And we not gonna really find out until it's all said and done. We haven't seen Biden. We don't know where he is. He went to a bookstore. He went to a restaurant. We don't know if he alive. We don't know nothing about Biden right now, right? He have completely disappeared. We don't know where Hunter is. We don't know nothing. Nothing. Not a thing, not a single thing. He was pre-pardoning people that wasn't even being investigated before he left office. He was making sure that people was pardoned all the way to a specific date before he left office. We never seen it happen in our lifetime. Never seen it happen in our lifetime, and it was juicing the numbers. Messing and cooking up the books, and then y'all sit there and jump on a panel with me and say, actually, Biden was deported. No, they wasn't. No, they wasn't. No, they wasn't. It was catching them and releasing them right into the United States of America and throwing other Democrats like Eric Adams under the bus.
That's what Todd Lyons said. Here's his quote. He said, we have uncovered that the previous administration was cooking the books on ICE data. They were purposely misleading the American people by categorizing individuals processed and released into the United States. We've been talking about that for years as arrests. They weren't arrests. We found tens of thousands of cases that were recorded as arrests when, in fact, these instances were illegal aliens that were simply processed and released into the American
all with
community.
your tax dollars.
These were numbers that ICE came up to try to make Joe Biden look good. And now that it's been revealed, it makes Joe Biden look bad.
So what are the real numbers? We don't even know the real numbers.
We don't know.
We'll never know the numbers.
And then letting them go.
Subtract those. Well, I mean, between the auto pen and between these numbers, we're going to find out a lot that wasn't really done under Joe Biden. And just think about if you did pass what Senator Langford put forward I guess you would say, immigration reform to a degree before the election. The main thing was no one thought that Joe Biden would enforce anything that was passed let alone the bill as it looked. It turns out, as the president said, we just needed a new president. The numbers are stunning so far, what Tom Homan has done. And then yesterday, when he went up to Albany to meet with the Republican delegation to let them know, I'm looking to do some massive ICE arrests in New York, and we're going to have to probably bypass the governor. What you're seeing now is some of the different arrests, like earlier this week in Houston, 560 plus felons were picked up here illegally who have committed a crime and previously been allowed to stay. The one area, there's many areas where the president's had success, but the one where it's just undeniable is here. So
shout out to Trump. And listen, before this is all over, Trump will be listed as the greatest president of all time, at the very least, because of the level of transparency that he's operating with and what he's exposing, which is clear. It's very clear for me exactly why they wanted this guy arrested. Man, look, they tried everything. And when I say everything, they threw the kitchen sink. They went to New York and they got Letitia James. They went down to Texas and they tried to file some charges and say Trump was keeping classified information in his garage. They went to Fulton County, Georgia, and they went and got Fawny Willis and her man boy to try to get Trump and try to arrest him and throw 96 charges on him. And they tried everything that they can. They tried to remove him from the ballots. They tried to get the Secretary of State in all of these blue states to remove him from the ballot, from us to even be able to vote for him. They did everything in their power to try to prevent him from getting into office. And I see why. I see exactly why they tried to prevent him from getting in office. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats. I can't wait to after hours tonight. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the most incredible after hours of all time. And let me say this. I am a conservative through and through, to my heart and my core. I am a conservative. I am certainly a Republican. What I am going to try to do for all of you liberals and you Democrats and you people that say that I am not on code, that I'm not doing whatever it is that I'm supposed to do to make sure that I hold Trump accountable, or I'm not looking at it from the liberal side, I'm going to take more of that approach. I am going to be straight down the middle, and I'm going to try to remove my bias. I can't promise you that I'm going to completely remove my bias, because I believe that he's doing a phenomenal job. But for you guys, for the foreseeable future, I am going to call it straight down the middle. I'm going to be objective, and I'm going to tell you where the Democrats say something good. I'm going to tell you when they say something bad. I'm going to tell you when I disagree and I think that the Republicans are doing something good and when they're doing something bad. I am going to look at it from every angle. I'm going to try to get it from the Democrat side and MSNBC and CNN, and then I'm going to get it from the Fox News side. I am going to, in everything that I do, and I can't tell you that I'm going to be able to remove what I believe in my thoughts. And so if it just goes that way, it goes that way. But I am going to truly try to be as objective as possible and tell you what my honest to God thoughts are about what is going on in society. And for the people in the back that may think that there's an agenda here, I have never, under any circumstances, not one time, I can tell you with absolute certainty, I am not Roland Martin, I am not Al Sharpton, I'm not any of those type of people. I have never gotten one check, not one check from anybody Republican related, from the super PAC, from a party, from anything. Everything that I've ever said. And so regardless of whether you agree with me or not, you cannot say that I'm not real. You can't say that I'm not authentic. I've never gotten a check from the Republican Party. I've never been incentivized. I've never gotten a flight. I've never gotten anything. So if there's anybody that's going to tell you honestly what they really believe, and I still think that the Democrats is a Democrat plantation, it is going to be me. All right? That's my pledge to you going forward. I am going to be biased because I'm biased. I am going to be biased. I'm biased in that I believe what I believe and it more closely aligns with conservatives. But I'm not going to not call it down the middle and say, hey, Jasmine Crockett did something good if she said something good. It just so happens to be the majority of what she's saying right now. I think that she's bad. But we're going to see how it go. We're going to see how it go. All right? Okay? That's my pledge to you guys. Let me read some of these super chats and we're going to move over into Tim Walz. Perfect opportunity. I haven't even seen a Tim Walz interview, but he's showing up and he's saying some stuff. Eric Williams says, come on, Anton. You got me cracking up over here at the job. You sound like after hours in the afternoon, bro. It is what it is. Executive Suite Emily says, bring back shame in 2025, one day at a time. Mr. Lott says, on-site admissions for gang members is insane. Executive Suite Emily says, they getting big off of the pig. Shame. Champ Lou Poppy. What up to you? I appreciate you. Tony Walker 5 says, as a stuttering black man, I appreciate you, Mr. Daniels, for inspiring me to work on my speech, not remain as a victim while it's tough day to day. I want to build a good speech confidence in 2 years. I love that, bro. Let me give you that one. I love that. Don't put that lady on Brooklyn. No, I heard that she the Bronx. Brooklyn. Florida Panoramic says, is it possible to get a Patreon interview with ex-Piston player Vinnie Johnson worth $500 million? I can try. I've ran into him at the Pistons practice facility a couple times. I don't have his number, but I'll definitely reach out to his people. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Billanico says, if you crunch the numbers, the media shared live during the vid, dividing the reported deaths by the total reported cases, it consistently came out to about 1% fear-mongering and control. Okay. Shout out to Billanico. I appreciate you. Tim Walz. Now, we haven't really heard much from Tim Walz, but Tim Walz is still the governor of Minnesota. I visited Minnesota. I've visited Minneapolis and St. Paul. I've seen what happened. I will tell you that over there in Minneapolis and St. Paul, it is a migrant stronghold. It is a migrant stronghold. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. As a matter of fact, the choice of migrant over there in St. Paul and Minneapolis, which we do obviously have some regular folk out there too, but the choice of migrant over in St. Paul and Minneapolis just so happens to be Somalis. It is. Somalians over in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota are over there kicking names and taking babies. I know it's supposed to be kicking butt and taking names. Kicking names and taking babies. It's crazy. Is anybody over here living in Minneapolis or the close area? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. This is Tim Walz. Tim Walz is saying that he's going to start holding town halls in Republican districts in wake of the wage cuts, in wake of the Doge cuts. Check it out.
Governor Tim Walz is Democrat of Minnesota, a state heavily impacted by Trump's government purges and its trade war with Canada, which of course it borders. Governor Walz joins me now. Governor, great to have you on the program.
Now, I'm going to observe this interview and I'm going to do it objectively, and I want to know if Tim Walz is saying some good points, and I'm going to give him points for saying it, and I'm going to hold him accountable for the things that he says is bad, okay?
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Let me just start with what this all looks like from your position as governor of Minnesota. Obviously a state right next to Canada. I imagine you have good relationships. I imagine there's a lot of trade that goes on between your state and Canada. What has this all meant for your state?
Yeah, Minnesotans like Canadians. We share a lot, and we share a great relationship. First of all, they're our biggest trading partners. It's incredibly disruptive. The number of people who cross the border both ways, Minnesotans going into Canada to work and Canadians coming into Minnesota. It's beneficial to both of our countries. Look, we get 90% of our potash, which is the fertilizer for our huge ag economy. That's real impacts on real producers, driving up costs for producers at a time when we can't can't sell our products because Donald Trump has this ridiculous trade war going on. And just quite honestly, the chaos and the uncertainty that it causes, so many Minnesotans are asking, when was Canada our enemy? And it makes no sense. It's very difficult as a governor to be able to set and think about budgets, to be able to think about how are we going to continue to attract folks here. And then he starts, as he did today, a day that I've dreaded as a teacher, as a parent of a student in public schools, and as governor, a senseless attack on the Department of Education. And I hope that I think your viewers know this is, there's no plan behind this. Donald Trump doesn't know how anything works. Donald Trump is this caricature that had a reality TV show that pretended like he knew how to run businesses. The reality is he doesn't. As a governor, we have to make these things work. Local school districts have to understand what are the impacts going to be when you lay off 1,300 experts who are there to make sure that every one of our children get an equitable education. And so it's chaos. And look, I think he thrives in this. And then he tells his supporters that only he can fix it. He's the guy who goes and starts the fire and then stands there and gives directions and acts like he knows how to put the fire out. He has no clue. So it's an arsonist with our economy. It's an arsonist with our institutions. He surrounds himself with people. The idea that the Secretary of Education would not know what IDEA meant, Individual with Disability Education Act, that's like your mechanic not knowing how to put air in your tire. And she's in charge of this nation's educational progress. It is catastrophic. And look, the short-term numbers you were talking about, Chris, are real. And I think it flips people like, oh, you know, people who say, I voted for Donald Trump. I didn't know he would fire me. No kidding. No kidding. What I worry about is the generational change that this would make. Look, Ruby Bridges needed to be escorted into those schools, and the folks who went into Little Rock, because we didn't have an education department that ensured her civil rights were respected. That's gone now. And
I should have my iPad with my Apple Pencil so that I can write down a lot of these talking points that I'm trying to listen to him through. First of all, Tim Walz is... It's interesting that a person, now consider the source before we get into some of his talking points. It's interesting that somebody will talk about somebody being a caricature when in reality, Tim Walz was pretending to be a person that was on the front lines but was exposed, and he thinks that we forgot this, he was exposed of having stolen valor. Exposed for having stolen valor. Tim Walz doesn't even have a house. He doesn't even own a home. Tim Walz wouldn't know what a good investor is if it hit him directly in the face. And this is objectively, because how can you criticize a great businessman like Trump, who has started numerous business and had enormous success, a billionaire before he ever ran for office? And Tim Walz has never actually even really owned a home. Let me say that again. Tim Walz doesn't even own a home. He's one of the few poor Democrats. He's a poor Democrat, and he's talking about somebody not knowing business. Now, I give Tim Walz credit for the fact that he doesn't seem to be one of the corrupt ones. He's just one of the ones that put tampons inside of boys' bathrooms in order to try to justify diversity, equity, and inclusion and support the trans community. However, how can you talk about Trump being a bad businessman when he literally is a billionaire and you don't even own a home, and the only monies that you've ever received is funds from taxpayers? It's true. Every single paycheck that Tim Walz has ever collected has come on the back of taxpayers. It's come on the back of taxpayers. Now, I will say that one thing that is true, because us as Michigan, we are a border state for Canada also. There are a lot of people that drive to and from Canada. Canadians drive over to Michigan in order to work because they got jobs here. I don't really see a lot of people driving over to Canada for work, but I don't know any about that. I don't know anybody that drives over to Canada for work, but I do know a lot of Canadians come over here in order to benefit off of the American economy. They have jobs here in Michigan, and they drive over the Canadian Bridge, or they drive under the tunnel and they go back and forth as a part of their daily commute, because it only takes like 25, 30 minutes for us to be over in Canada and go through border patrol, and go through the bridge and all of that, and vice versa. But that has nothing to do with a tariff war. Has zero to do with it. Nobody is saying that we're blocking off the border to prevent Canadians from coming over here or prevent Americans from being able to travel back and forth through Canada. That has no relevance. See, he tried to throw that in there. And see, one of the things that Democrats do a lot of times, and Tim Walz is really good at it, because he can communicate a coherent statement. And it's one of the reasons that they thought that he was going to shore up and be able to back up Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris couldn't put together a coherent statement a lot of times, is they often at times throw in facts, things that are true that we all both can agree on, to make it seem like, okay, I resonate with this guy. Oh yes, Minnesotans and Canadians travel back and forth to go to work. Okay, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? You see what I'm saying? And the Department of Education has always been in shambles, personally. The Department of Education has always been in shambles. I know here in Michigan, especially with our public schools that are largely subsidized, not only by federal dollars, but also by taxpayer money, as far as the money that you pay in your property taxes. I know that the way that a lot of schools get money is on count day. Has nothing to do with educating the students, has nothing to do with class sizes. We know that there's a lot of migrants that are inside of these classes that are exploding, and the teachers can't even teach anymore. And we got so many diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that teachers are going through training. Instead of figuring out how it is that they can put together their class curriculum, they're spending more time doing training on diversity, equity, and inclusion to make sure that they're not getting sued by a student that then can take advantage of whatever is happening and saying that you're discriminating against me because I can't go inside of the girls' bathrooms. The Department of Education has been in shambles for a long time. It's about time for a revamp and an overhaul.
And my son, those of you, your viewers who are out there now who have individual education plans that let them thrive and be their best people, what do they want us to do? Warehouse these kids, not give them the skills? And this is going to impact local schools directly. So it is absolute chaos. And the question I ask is, you said it, Chris. He didn't run on this stuff. He told you he'd lower prices. You know the one thing Linda McMahon in her press conference did not say? She did not use the word children, if I'm not mistaken. She did not talk about educational outcomes. They view education as an expense, just like Elon Musk talks about entitlement programs. Those aren't entitlement programs. Those are the things keeping my mom alive. She paid into Social Security for 80 years. She should get that money back. And that's not what they believe.
But it is an entitlement program because it is a Ponzi scheme, and we don't even have it funded. And we robbing Peter to pay Paul, and in order for us to keep it solvent, we got to make sure that the next generation then pay into it, because we establish it to be a Ponzi scheme. And so if we don't cut the budget from the federal government and all of these other things that are, and again, remember that Social Security, it doesn't even matter whether it's a Ponzi scheme or not. Trump is not saying that he's going to get rid of it. He's saying that we need to audit it to make sure that the people that are supposed to be getting Social Security get it, and the people that aren't, that we not getting finessed as taxpayers. I don't see why that's unreasonable.
I want to go back just on that Canada issue and then come back around to the education cuts. I mean, you know, this insanity about we're going to take Canada, 51st state, calling Justin Trudeau governor. It's nuts and it's stupid and it's silly. But at a certain level, it's like, I think across the border, understandably, they're starting to take it seriously. It's the only possible feasible rationale that anyone could kind of figure out for this trade war he's launching. And I wonder, again, as a border state with relationships, you've been talking to your other leaders in Canada. There was this 25% surcharge on your electricity, which was dropped at the last second.
Yeah.
So stop saying that there was a surcharge when it wasn't. It was something that he said that he was going to do. It was used as a negotiating tactic. You wasn't charged even a dime over what you was. Me, as a resident of Michigan, and I own a whole bunch of places. Did you see me panicking? Did you see me tripping? Did you see me at any time? Did you see me worried about, oh my God, my electricity is going to be surcharged or cut off? It was going to happen, and then they dropped it at the last minute. Of course they dropped it at the last minute because our president know what he's doing.
What do you make of those threats and what they mean to that relationship between our two nations.
I wish I could ask these questions.
Yeah, and so I don't blame the Canadians. They have to respond to protect their sovereignty and what they're doing. And
yeah, I agree with you, Arthur. Arthur says, see, and this is, they just say stuff. Hold up. You paying the Social Security as you work, correct? Correct. How old is his mama? Has she been working for 80 years? What? You know how these older people, they've been working since they was 3. They've been paying in the Social Security since they was 3. His mama probably 83 years old, and she been paying into it since she was 3. Yeah, man, I've been paying in the Social Security for 80 years. I'm glad you caught that because I missed it. The minute that you said it, I remember what he said.
Trump puts these on and takes them off. This has so much more damage than him pretending like it didn't impact. We have become untrustworthy. Yeah. And so if they are buying our soybeans or they're buying our corn, they're going to go look for a fair trading partner. And what Donald Trump doesn't understand, he thinks what he did in 2018, where we subsidized farmers to the tune of about $1.63 per bushel of soybeans just to keep them above water as he was fighting his trade war, we lost markets that took us decades to cultivate. They went to Brazil. They went to Argentina. And now we've got a surplus of products while input costs have gone up and nowhere to sell them. This is catastrophic. I had an event out on a farm. Look, I know many of those people didn't vote for us. But what I know about farmers is they understand international trade a hell of a lot better than Donald Trump. And they know this is just ridiculous. I think he gets this in his head. And it's, you know, it is like it's like
Tim's own family didn't vote for him.
Like it's not real. These are long-term cultural shared values. They matter. And the damage that's being done, the lack of trust that's happening, very difficult. So when I call Premier Ford or I call to Manitoba, they feel bad. They know that this is not all the American people doing it. So you the
treasonous one. You the one that Doug Ford, the premier in Canada, was saying that he talked to American governors and they don't necessarily agree with Trump. So you the treasonous one. Okay. All right. So we found them, y'all. We found some of the governors as treasonous. Doug Ford, when he was pretending to announce tariffs against the United States of America, when he said that he was going to surcharge us on electricity and he was going to shut off the electricity over here. Remember that? And he said, yeah, man, I talked to the governors over there. I talked to a lot of these people. He wouldn't name no names, but he said that I was talking to all of the governors over there. And guess what? They don't like what Trump is doing. It's Tim Walz. Tim Walz is the first one to call, hey, Doug, we stand with Canada. We don't stand with what goes on here in the United States of America.
But they feel like they have no recourse except to respond accordingly. And again, he negotiated the damn trade deal with them. If trade is so bad with Canada, he was the guy who signed the deal. It defies logic. But look, I think this is how he ran business. He stiffed contractors. He stiffed workers.
I know it's not just him. I know that Governor Gretchen Whitmer is calling too here in Michigan. I know a lot of them. Absolutely. But he's telling on himself. And he's being very transparent about whether or not he's going to be treasonous or not.
He doesn't pay his bills. He declares bankruptcy. The one thing is, his claim that he's the business president, he is the worst possible business executive that I have ever witnessed. And I hope, this.
You never started a business. Let's say hypothetically that a person has started thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of different businesses in which he has literally amassed a net worth of well over $1 billion. But he has 5 LLCs that wind up filing for bankruptcy in order to protect his personal wealth. And that's some of the things that he's done. You're telling me that's not a great businessman? So we don't consider 50 Cent a great businessman because 50 Cent, one of 50 Cent's businesses was filed for bankruptcy? But yet we celebrate him and we herald him. You're telling me that he's not a great businessman? Okay. All right, Timmy. And I don't want to hear Timmy anymore. Timmy is tired. Timmy is just throwing insults. He's throwing ad hominem attacks. He's making himself look stupid, and his own family didn't even vote for him. So shout out to Timmy Walz. Shout out to Tim Walz. Anyways, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. And also make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I want to read a couple of super chats, and then I want to get over to Rosie O'Donnell. Thought that I'd save this one for last. Morning, AD, that's just renamed Minnesota Black Hawk down. It's crazy over there. Crazy. Dawn from In Vogue is living in her car. Yeah, I seen that. I got a reaction video that's coming out about that today, and we're going to talk about it on After Hours. Bilderberg Boy says, read The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America by Charlotte Thompson. Charlotte Thompson. She served as Reagan's senior policy advisor of Department of DOE. Her book will tell you everything you need to know about the DOD. What up, Anton? What up, though? What up, big dog? Courtney Smith is in the building. Says Tim's full family endorsed Trump. They even took a family picture with Trump in 2024 merch. Yeah, I remember that. Shout out to Tampon Timmy. We like Tampon Timmy. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to Rosie. All right. Rosie O'Donnell. She was gay for the stay. Gay for the stay. Rosie O'Donnell. I didn't even know Rosie O'Donnell was as old as she is, and she looked as old as she did. Until I realized that she was saying that she was moving and self-deporting. Let me say that again. Rosie O'Donnell is moving and self-deporting. This is what she had to say.
Well, hey, everybody. It's me, Rosie O'Donnell, star of the Flintstones. It's Tuesday all day, as my Nana would say. And I'm here in Ireland. And it's beautiful and warm. Not physically, it's actually quite cold.
So
Moved
it's not
here
warm.
on January 15th. And it's been pretty wonderful, I have to say. The people are so loving and so kind, so welcoming. And I'm very grateful. I'm in the process of getting my Irish citizenship, as I have Irish grandparents.
Nice.
And
nice.
That's what's going on, and that's where I've been and what I've been doing. And although I was never someone who thought I would move to another country, that's what I decided would be the best for myself and my 12-year-old child.
Can somebody in the chat, I'll look it up right now. I'm trying to figure out how old Rosie O'Donnell is and how she has a 12-year-old child. Let me look that up.
And here we are. Here we are. So TikTok has gotten a little bit dark and negative for me. I don't feel capable of going through the hate that comes through, and
she's 62.
I'm trying Substack, and I think I like it there.
62.
Now, it's hard to learn. If the Substack people, one of the reasons why I'm liking it is, there you have it. It's going to be what it's going to be when you're a public figure, living a more private life as you get older. You know, this is sort of the journey.
She adopted a 12-year-old? I would hate to be one of them kids that get adopted by some kind of raging liberal when I get older, and then I realize that they was adopting me to make themselves feel good instead of putting real traditional values into me as a how can she even raise a boy? A boy? 12 or 15-year-old boy?
That you take. I'm happy. Clay is happy. I miss my other kids. I miss my friends. I miss many things about life there at home. And I'm trying to find a home here in this beautiful country.
If the countries that y'all go to are so awesome and it's so inviting and welcoming and you love the people here and you love the people there, why do you keep on concerning yourself with what goes on here inside of the United States of America? I'm all for it. I think that these people should self-deport. I think that Rosie O'Donnell, Alyssa Milano, all of the people, all of the celebrities that said that they would move out of the United States of America, if Trump wind up getting in office, I think that they should all go ahead and self-deport and move to Ireland or whatever country. I know Ellen DeGeneres, she moved out of the country. It's alleged that she was running away from some crazy allegations, but that's a whole nother conversation. Why do they still talk about how they want to come back to the United States of America if it's so awesome where you at? I know it's cap. Look, bro. There's some people that are uniquely suited to live in other countries. There are some people that are uniquely suited to be able to live in another country. And I'm talking about permanently. I'm not talking about going to live over there for the winter or a period of time, or you want to spend the summer, over in Europe or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you can be a permanent resident in a country that you are not familiar with. You can adapt to their culture. You can adapt to their social norms. And you are 100% happy with no desire to come back to inside of the United States of America. Most people, including myself, when I go other places and I go and visit, when I go to other countries and I go and visit, I love it. I have not been to a country that I did not love and have a great experience in, but I'd be ready to come home. After about a week or a week and a half, 2 weeks, I'll be missing my bed. The food ain't the same as far as like the familiarity of the different places all around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, the culture ain't the same. You can't just go anywhere you want to go and do what you want to do and not have to worry about free speech and all of this stuff. The beds be smaller, the rooms be smaller, the cars be smaller. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't get me wrong, I love traveling this country. I love traveling across the United States of America. I love traveling to other countries and visiting places. It ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like that good old United States of America. I like my bed. I like my cars. I like these women that's so chocolate. I like all of the things. I like Coney Island. I like going to basketball games. Ain't no basketball games over there. Now, you might be going over there for your own particular reasons, but I'm just telling you, bro, it's not, for me personally, it's not the same. And I think that a lot of these people like her, and this is why she's acting like, oh, Ireland is so awesome. Then why you keep talking about how you can't wait to come back to the United States of America then?
And when, it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back.
Don't. Rather Unique says, you ever been to Tokyo? I wish I could. I got to get a passport. I have. And Tokyo is an awesome place. I can't wait to go back to Tokyo. Probably will go back in a year or two. Or maybe I'll just go back next year. I don't plan on going this year, but I plan on going back even in a year or two because there's so many other places that I need to get to also. But as much as I love Tokyo, and it was a phenomenal place to visit, I love home better, personally. And she talking about, well, when the United States of America becomes safe again for us to come back home, who checking for 63-year-old Rosie O'Donnell and trying to stop her? And don't get me wrong, this is not a petition to get her to come back to the United States of America. All I'm saying is, who bothering Rosie O'Donnell? And who's taking away? What rights did y'all lose? Before I'm gonna play this and I'm gonna speed it up. What rights did y'all lose when Trump then won the United States of America presidency? Can somebody tell me? Somebody fill me in because I may not be familiar. What rights did you guys lose when Trump became president?
It's been heartbreaking to see what's happening politically and hard for me personally as well. The personal is political, as we all know. So I've met a bunch of people. Everyone's been friendly. I have a wonderful friend named Tom who has taken me under his wing and showed me around Dublin, and I'm so grateful. really grateful. And I imagined, a different life for me when I met him. I said, imagine if I was raised here, who would I be? Would I be the same person? I don't know, I don't really know. But that's the story of what's been going on. So if you want to follow me on Substack, please do. There's...
Ain't nobody going to no Substack to follow Y'all going to Substack to follow Rosie O'Donnell? Are y'all going to Substack to follow Rosie O'Donnell? Just a question. And white people, everybody got to get held accountable. Everybody got to get held accountable. Everybody. So don't take this the wrong way, or you could take it however you want to take it. We hold everybody accountable over here. Y'all got to take better care of yourselves as y'all get older. Y'all be aging like milk. Y'all be aging like milk. She don't look 63. She look 83 to me. Maybe 79. She looks old. She look older than Trump. Trump is what, 81, 83, something like that. She looks older than Trump. She looks about 20 years older than she's presenting herself to be. Y'all don't be moisturizing y'all lips sometimes. Y'all just walk out the house and you think that just because you white that we can't see that ashiness on your skin and on your face. Y'all seriously need to take better care of yourself also. Hair be thinning, the edge thief be getting to y'all. Y'all say, you know what? I'm going to just let myself go. You start wearing them Obama jeans. Don't trust me. I went and got some Obama jeans myself. And then I had to snap back into reality. I said, you know what? These jeans don't fit me the right way. They don't fit right. So I had to switch my jeans. Y'all just be letting y'all don't iron y'all shirts no more like y'all supposed to. You can iron your shirt, and just because it's a t-shirt don't mean that you're not supposed to iron it. Iron your shirt and brush your teeth when you come out the house too. Keep on talking. Hey, Anton. Hi, thank you for being a bag chaser. You gotta brush your teeth, man. Seriously, bro.
Options, you can do it for free, of course. And there's a way to subscribe that you get extra things like possibly videos like this, or I'm going to literally do my stuff on the internet. So I'm not going to try to impress people. I'm just going to put out the stuff.
And stop wearing pajamas to the grocery store, white people. And then coming back and getting into bed. And stop thinking that you can cook with your dog in your hand. Cats everywhere. Cat hair everywhere. Cooking with your pet, and stop kissing your pet in the mouth. Black people stole that from white people. Black people stole kissing their dogs and their cats in the mouth. They stole that from white people. Some stuff we gotta let y'all have. Some stuff we gotta let y'all have. But I love my dogs and I'll make love to them if I want to. Stop kissing your pets in the mouth. We got that from y'all. Give it back.
It arrives onto my phone and or my laptop. And I hope you're okay. And I'm sorry for those of you who were worried and who missed me. I just felt like we needed to take care of ourselves and make some hard decisions and follow through. And now as we're getting settled, I was ready to post this and to tell everybody what's been going on. So there, I've missed you, TikTok. I'm worried that TikTok is going to go away. It seems as though the only place you can get the news of what's really happening in terms of protests and whatnot is on TikTok. And the mainstream media has been letting us all down there in America, where the fourth estate is required in order to maintain a democracy. And, they haven't been doing their job. So here's hoping that they will get better before it's too late. And here's hope.
No, we good. We don't need your help. We don't need your hope. We don't need your prayers. God don't listen to you. And we good. So shout out to Rosie O'Donnell running away and going to Ireland. And we pray you never come back. We pray you find peace, love, happiness, and you and your son and all of your people wind up staying in Ireland, and you be blessed for it. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's see what else we got here. Let me read a few more super chats, and then we'll get y'all up out of here for the day. We got after hours tonight, all right? Let me see what we got. 392Q was in the building. Says, people remember all of the times you failed or said no to them, but forget the accomplishments you did and yeses you said. Here's your funky $20 back. Facts. Talk about it. Then Shell says, Rosie looking like Fire Marshal Bill. Fire Marshal Bill in a living color. Rosie looked like expired milk. Wade talks in the building, says, Anton, if these tariffs actually go through, how can American businesses afford to keep up without raising prices for consumers? What do you mean? You adjust your prices and then you pass the price over to the consumers. Or you cut back on things that's not meaningful. It's that simple. It depends on what the business is. What's the business and what do they sell? You got to be more specific. You can't just say American businesses. Give me the game. Give me the game. Be specific. Ireland is conservative. You can't get an abortion. That's a fact. Live and live in South Korea. Visit America. Courtney says, Big Dog, when are you pulling up to Phoenix, Arizona? I've never been to Phoenix, Arizona. Never been to Phoenix, Arizona. Rita's trying to get me to go and see something, some play or something in New York or something. Be Easy 333 says Canada isn't energy independent. America refines 97% of Canadian crude oil. Note that America has its own oil and refineries. Canada will not interfere with our electricity. Justin Trudeau failed the East Pipeline deal. New Unique says she look about 105. She look like she been grinding for 70 plus years. I hope her breath don't stink. P.S. I have a passport. Shout out to the passports. Hand in a snack bag on a couch or on the couch or the bed is a sin. Mr. Joe says Trump said Rosie talks like a truck driver. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Let me make sure that I didn't miss anybody. Got to make sure I show love to everybody, including the chasers. Shout out to Rand Wilson. Rand Wilson says, Trump eliminate taxes on $150K and under. I ain't heard nothing about that. I'm going to have to research that. But anyways, make sure y'all tune in to After Hours tonight because we always get it popping. Shout out to Rap Unique, says they lost the right to terminate unborn. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. And shout out to everybody that's tuned in and is subscribed to the channel. Make sure y'all subscribe before y'all leave. Turn on your notifications. Send this to your family and friends. We love you. We appreciate you. We're going to see y'all tonight. Y'all can see Molly in the chat on After Hours tonight. She might have her shoulder out. I don't know. We're going to see. PJ says, hey, AD, you coming to San Antonio? Should I come to San Antonio? When should I come to San Antonio? What's the weather in San Antonio? 80? Let me see what the weather is in San Antonio. San Antonio. It's going to be 90 today in San Antonio. 90 today, 92 tomorrow, 77 on Saturday, 83 Sunday, 83 and sunny every day, 83, 85, 84. 73, 76, 76. Okay. I'm looking at Miami weather down in San Antonio. Y'all got churros? Charles Barkley said them big girls like them churros in San Antonio. What's the prices? Let me see what let me see something. Flights, San Antonio. Y'all got any direct flights, San Antonio? Let me see. Oh, y'all got direct flights. Okay. Maybe next week. Who knows? Maybe next week. Anyways, man, it's too hot in San Antonio. No, that's perfect weather. That's perfect weather. Anyways, listen. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Shout out to PJ. I don't know. We going to see. Greta Woodson in the building. Thank you, Greta, for the super sticker. Christopher Mayberry says, would you do an interview with John Hope Bryant? Yeah, I'll pretty much do an interview with anybody. I don't care. Duran Lee says, Rosie O'Donnell gone. That's one person off the Social Security. Thank you, Trump. Can they still draw even if they outside of the country? I don't know. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see y'all tonight on After Hours. Peace.